Salawete omnes, ego sum magister Sullivan. Welcome back. We are discussing Caesar 4.28 and 4.29 today. Where last we learned that Caesar is attempting to invade Britannia, and at first it doesn't go well at all for him, and then things start to turn around. But now we're going to be confronted with a storm at sea, and this is really, really similar in some ways to when Aeneas and his crew go through some sea storms. So this could be something where the AP looks at this passage and also Aeneas's passages where he is at sea, and there's a storm. So here we go. So we start right off with an ablative absolute. So with peace having been established, because of these things, after after which, uh, after 4 days, after the fourth day. Um, so we have naves here. The ships, and how many ships are there? There are 10 plus 5 plus 3 is, yeah, 10. So 18 ships. Uh, it was come into Britannia. Let's clean that up. So 18 ships came into Britannia, uh, about which um, it was mentioned, it was pointed out above, which sustulerant. So this is had transported, had carried the cavalry, the horse soldiers out of. And so then we go. They let loose. They released from the higher port with a light wind. So those probably ships, or the ships which approached Britain and were seen from the camp. So again, we have these are examples of imperfect subjunctives. See, it looks like apropinquare, which is the infinitive plus an ending. All right, same thing with viderentur. See, it looks like the infinitive videre, and then we have a verb ending. So suddenly, such a storm, so great a storm, rose up that none of our ships could. So again, this is a subjunctive, posse plus et, could or were able to hold the course. But the others, meaning the other ships, were carried back, were borne back to the same location, to the same spot. Remember, dem certain? Same dem thing and damn certain, from which they had set out. So here we have a pluperfect subjunctive. Pluperfect verb, passive verb. And the others were literally tossed about, were thrown together, were thrown down to the lower part of the island, which is closer to the setting sun, the setting of the sun. With great danger, peril, which, nevertheless, with the anchor having been cast, They are filled with waves, or when they were filled with waves. By necessity, with the or on opposite night or opposing night, having been carried onto the deep, onto the sea, they sought they sought the continent. So that is Caesar 4.28, right? In which case Caesar and his men get a sudden storm, and it causes some havoc. Salvete omnes, ego sum magister Sullivan back with 4.29, where the storm continues to wreak havoc. So, on the same night, it happens that there was a full night. I'm sorry, a full moon. So, on the same night, it happens that there was a full moon. So, with this word akidit, it means to happen. We will have a clause that goes with that. And that's why this verb here is subjunctive. Esse plus T, imperfect subjunctive. Uh, which day? That day, it was accustomed to carry out, to make very large sea swells in or on the ocean. And it was unknown to our soldiers. So, and one time, these swells, or the swell, a swell, filled, as our main verb, or had filled the long ships by which Caesar had cared, had cared for, had developed for the transportation of the army, and which had been led onto dry land, and the cargo ships, the transport ships, which this is had been tied up at anchor. At anchor, it's just an expression. The tempestas, the storm, was afflicting, was damaging, was afflicting, and there there no are not any opportunity either for administering or guiding or helping was being given to our men. All right, again, so here we have facultas and we have a couple of genitive. Um, these are gerunds, right? So remember andi, auxiliandi, right? Going with facultas. So not there was not any opportunity or no opportunity, no, not any opportunity was being given, was being granted, was allowed to our soldiers for guiding or helping to or for our men. And now we have another ablative absolute. So compluribus is just like multis. So with many ships having been broken, and when or since or because the rest were So we have a imperfect subjunctive there. Were useless for sailing. So again, this is another gerund. Were useless, inutiles, utiles meaning useful, inutiles meaning not useful, for sailing with, this is one giant ablative absolute. So with the slings, I'm sorry, with the ropes and the anchors and the rest of the rigging having been sent away or having been lost. Then we have magno. We go magno all the way to perturbatio. So a large confusion, a large, confusion, consternation was made. Facta est was made. I'm sorry, and it because it or that which was necessary to happen. I'm sorry, that goes back with amices. Too many 15s. For there were no other ships which would be able to be carried back or could be carried back. And they all were lacking everything which was, or which things were of a use for remaking the ships, maybe refitting. So here we go, reficiendas, for remaking the ships, which they were was deciding for all the opportunity to winter in Gaul. The grain, so the grain was not given, was not provided in these locations in the winter. All right, so just kind of a, I know it looks like a mess here, but just kind of a mess themselves with the ships, right? And the storm wreaking havoc and causing all sorts of confusion, and really wreaking havoc upon the ships. So that is Caesar 4.28 and 4.29. I'll see you next class. Curate ut valia tis omnes valete.